Good afternoon. How we doing? Can you all hear me okay? Better? Oh, that's all right. Thanks. We're so excited you're here. Welcome to the Sanger Leadership Center informational session. Just by a show of hands, I know I got to see some of you already and talk a little bit about the audiences that you're coming from us with, but just to give a sense of who's in the room, if you're an undergraduate student, will you just raise your hand? Awesome. It's good to see you all. If you're an MBA student, raise your hand. One-year master's student? Who did I miss? One-year master's. Non-Ross. Do we have any non-Ross students in the room? Cool. What program? Econ, Ross Minor. Awesome. Welcome. And a special welcome to our folks from the engineering back there. Thanks for joining us. We're excited you're here. I'm so excited that you're here. We're hoping that you're able to really think about taking your leadership development journey to the next level. And we're excited about the ways in which we can tell you how to do so. My name is Jeff Damagala. I use he, him pronouns, and I serve as managing director of the center. Over the course of the next 30 minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce to you some of our programs that you hopefully will have access to during your time here. We're going to detail those out, and then at about 12:30 when we're finished, we're going to invite you all to the back of the room where you're going to have a chance to meet some of our staff, some of the students who have been through some of the programs, to answer any questions that you might have about getting involved. So if that sounds good, we'll go ahead and dive in. What we want to do is first, by just pausing and standing still by the work that we do, and we're really excited about our mission, which is accelerating leader development through bold ideas, transformative experiences, and inclusive communities. Really what that means is we take bold ideas in research from faculty and we partner in terms of action-based learning and bring to you experiences that are meaningful and connect and apply the ways in which you can become a better leader. I want to pause by the word accelerate because it's really important to us that we use the word accelerate. Accelerate for us means that we're not building you as a leader on a journey, that we're meeting you where you're at. Your leadership development journey might look different than the person sitting next to you. And so we want to meet you where you're at. And so to be thoughtful today, as we introduce you to programs in which you can learn more about leadership development, is what are the programs that you might need to learn a bit more about your mindset or your skill set or to develop a certain capability that you want to round out. How we do that in a variety of ways. Many of you are familiar with the Michigan model of leadership, which is home to a variety of over 60-plus years of research in the leadership foundations. When we think about the Michigan model, this is our primary way in which we think about leadership development. If you're an MBA student, you've taken a 360-degree assessment already, so you know sort of where you fall. But you see in the model there are fundamental tensions for how we collaborate up in the yellow quadrant versus down in the blue quadrant. How might we navigate some of those tensions and push forward those results? While at the same time, up in the green quadrant, we're thinking about developing new ways of doing, innovating, creative change, often at tension with that red quadrant about structure, process, procedure. In order to develop and become a well-rounded leader, you've got to at least develop average capability in all four. What we've done alongside the Michigan model of leadership is we've developed a 5-step journey framework to the right, which is how do you experiment with new ways of learning and leading based on your current capabilities when it comes to leadership development. So if you wanted to get better at crafting a story, you might say, I want to join Story Lab, and I want to be really thoughtful about an experiment that I want to run about being more vulnerable in front of my peers. So throughout our programs, our center's endowment enables us to offer a variety of programs to you all based on a variety of skills, and we're going to walk through all of these programs in just a second. But if by joining some of our programs, we're going to encourage you to be really thoughtful about what experiments are you running and what skills do you want to round out and apply to your career as you move forward. So that's a little bit about how we do that, and we're going to walk through, you're going to have it, in just a moment, you're going to meet folks from our team who are going to walk you through some of these programs. A note about some of our programs is that we think about leadership in 3 areas. Skills you can learn. Self-leadership. What does it look like to lead myself with my values and my purpose? What does it look like to be thoughtful about my identity as I think about the workplace and those in which I show up with? Managing teams. How do I manage peers? How do I manage people in the context of I don't have formal leadership role? I'm in a club, I'm in a group project. How are we thoughtful about the ways in which we can gain better credibility as a leader without that formal authority? And then as you're thinking farther out into your future, what would it look like for you to be a leader on a team and to be leading an organization? So we're thinking about leadership in the context of 3 domains, and you're going to see some icons throughout our slides that are going to give you very specific skills that we're going to develop during those programs. So as you hear the learning objectives of each of the programs, be mindful about some of the skills that you're going to learn more about. If you have questions about those skills, that'll be a great opportunity to touch base with us in the back of the room to learn a bit more about what those skills are. These skills, of course, are all in relationship and alignment with the Michigan model of leadership. And then just a couple notes about our programs. You're going to develop your skills in a variety of ways. It might be through a reflective practice, or inviting you to be really thoughtful about your values, or it might ask you to reflect and journal, right, in Legacy Lab or our Ross Leaders Academy. Or we might be asking you to be thoughtful about what is your management plan for DEI through the Leading Inclusive Teams program. It's really the modes of how you'll learn is going to be really different. And then we might say, hey, you might tell a story on stage through Story Lab, or you might be in the final round of the press conference and the Leadership Crisis Challenge. So there's some action-based learning opportunities for you to engage with as well. In all of our programs, we're leveraging research and leadership frameworks. All of our programs have a faculty advisor, enabling us to bring the latest and greatest research to you in all of these programs to make sure that they're the most updated as we deliver and bring them to you. And when we talk to our folks in the Career Development Office, they often tell us that leadership development is really difficult to find when recruiters are looking for. So how do you be thoughtful about standing out in the workplace, standing out to recruiters, to tell your story or your odyssey in a way that enables you to be thoughtful about your leadership development journey as a means to push you forward in your career? And then finally, you'll see that a lot of our programs engage online, but they're also engaged in person. So it's really going to depend on the format. We've got a few programs that are engaged entirely online, and then we've got programs that offer both modes to appeal to our online MBAs, our weekend MBAs, and folks who are joining us from other schools and colleges. If you know of folks who are interested in the Sanger Leadership Center, we'd encourage you to spread the word and share the information. What I will say is that most of our programs are open to all students at the University of Michigan. We're primarily housed at the Ross School of Business, as a primary focus for leadership is focused through business, but you can learn leadership through a variety of lenses, and we believe that when you're doing that in partnership with others, you end up becoming more well-rounded, and learning about leadership through interdisciplinary context actually makes you a better leader. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to our program specialist, Nick, who's going to walk us through the first program, and we'll move on from there. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thanks, Jeff. Hi, everyone. My name is Nick Viviano. I am a program specialist at the Sanger Leadership Center, and I want to start off by talking about Crisis Challenge. The Leadership Crisis Challenge is our most highly attended and action-packed event. Last year, over 300 students participated. The Crisis Challenge is a case simulation where you and a small group of your peers role-play the executive team of a corporation going through a crisis. The program takes place over 2 days, a Thursday night and a whole day on a Friday. Day one, that Thursday night, you and your team are responding to and developing a strategy for the crisis as it unfolds. And then Friday, we're over at the Big House, Michigan Stadium. In the morning, you present your strategy to a board of directors composed of Michigan faculty and alumni who hold C-suite positions in the real world. After that, the teams with the highest scores are invited to a press conference where they present their strategy to the public and respond to questions from actual journalists. At the end of that press conference, the winning teams are announced. Now, the Leadership Crisis Challenge is open to all students. And I want to get a little granular here by saying that if you are an undergraduate student, you are only going to be placed on a team with and compete against other undergraduate students. If you are a graduate student, you'll only be placed on a team with and compete against other graduate students. So there's kind of two challenges happening simultaneously with two winning teams at the end. Leadership Crisis Challenge takes place at the end of January, January 25th, January 26th, with registration opening at the beginning of January, so you have some time to prepare. The next program I want to talk to you about is Story Lab. So at school, in your classes, in the workplace, on teams, having executive presence and communicating with impact is a distinguishing characteristic. And that's where Story Lab comes into play. At Story Lab retreats, students learn the art and architecture of story development and delivery and practice how to use storytelling as a leadership skill to communicate with impact and influence. Now, there are two parts to Story Lab. The first part is the retreat, and you only have to attend one retreat. But we offer two in both the fall and winter semesters. If you develop a story that you want to share with the public, we have two opportunities for you to do that. You can present your story at a Story Lab showcase or be a part of one of our podcast episodes. For the fall, our two Story Lab retreats are going to be October 26th and 27th, with registration opening at the beginning of October. Similar to Leadership Crisis Challenge, Story Lab is open to any student, so I really hope to see you there. Now I want to turn it over to Susie.
Thank you, Nick. All right, hello, my name is Susie Skirdick. I'm a new program specialist here at Sanger Leadership Center, and I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about leading inclusive teams and Legacy Lab. So leading inclusive teams is a 6-week learning community where you'll get to lead and lead and design diverse, equitable, and inclusive teams and organizations. Some of the things you'll learn more about are advancing DEI strategic change and increasing awareness of identity dynamics in the workplace, mitigating bias, and practicing allyship. You'll do this through online learning modules, small group coaching sessions, live cohort events, and small group meetings. This happens in February and March, and the registration will be open later in the fall for leading inclusive teams. Next, we have Legacy Lab. Legacy Lab is open to all University of Michigan students. It's offered once in the fall and once in the winter. The purpose of Legacy Lab is to really dive into self-development and learning about what your purpose and your values are, establishing a growth mindset and building strong, trusting relationships. You do this through reflective activities, powerful stories, and meaningful interactions with your peers. You also get the opportunity to do one-on-one executive coaching. Legacy Lab has 2 sessions, like I said, in the fall, and that's going to be an in-person offering, and then also a session in the winter, which is a virtual offering. Registration will be open early next month in October for that. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jeff for Ross Leaders Academy.
Thanks, Susie. I want to talk to you about the Ross Leaders Academy. The Ross Leaders Academy is our most advanced, in-depth leadership program that we offer. And the reason why we say that is because it lasts the longest time. So I share this today because this is an application-based program, but I want to just start with a caveat by saying the application for this program has closed. So if you're interested in this program and you have the opportunity to participate again in the future, it will be available to you. This program is open to juniors, seniors, and graduate students. We select 50 students from across the university. So we develop and choose a cohort that is diverse by all senses of the word, but also being thoughtful about how are we bringing folks from engineering and the dental school and the School of Information to curate a culture and a cohort that really embodies leadership at its finest. And so we're embracing, you're put into a pod, and we go over a variety of topics over the course of the whole year. So we meet about 10 times a semester. We're going to cover topics like values and purpose, identity, inclusion. What does it look like to live my values and purpose in all those ways? And then when we get to the winter semester, we're moving away from self, and we're talking a lot about interpersonal leadership. What would it look like to be thoughtful about empathy? How am I resilient in nature? How do I manage conflict? And how do I piece all these things together to make sense of it in the context of my future? We have 2 executive coaches that join us throughout the entire year. They provide one-on-one coaching to you, but they also provide a group coaching to your group all throughout the course of the semester, meeting twice a semester. I will just let you know sort of this year did anyone apply for RLA this year? Okay, so if you applied, thank you, we're excited. You're one of 185 applications we received for this program, so we're excited that you're interested. And I don't say that to scare you. I'm just sharing, being transparent about the opportunity that exists. So I'm really excited. We meet on Fridays from 10 to 12:15. What I want to pause on, and you heard as Susie talked and as I'm sharing, you heard values and purpose, and then when I talked, you heard values and purpose. So you see that these programs look a little similar, right? And I want to share some of the similarities, but also some of the differences. They're both going to focus on the similar kinds of content, but the audience it's open to all UM students, of course, for either way, but our format looks a little different. We offer an online version of Legacy Lab in the winter and in-person in the fall. The Ross Leaders Academy is in-person all the time. The format looks a little bit different. So the time commitment. If you're looking for the quick version to gain a pretty good analysis of yourself when it comes to values and purpose and how to build high-quality connections, we'd really recommend you to participate in Legacy Lab. And if you've applied to the Ross Leaders Academy and you don't have the chance to be a part of the cohort, you'll still have the opportunity to be a part of Legacy Lab. Ross Leaders Academy, most time intensive. Facilitation, Legacy Lab's facilitated by the Sanger team, and then the Ross Leaders Academy is facilitated by a variety of coaches, the Sanger team, faculty as well. That program, RLA, is also sponsored by Deloitte, and so we have an opportunity to meet and network from a variety of folks there as well. And then coaching. Coaching is a part of it both. Both opt-in, one-on-one coaching is going to be available in Legacy Lab, and then group coaching available in the Ross Leaders Academy. I'll pause really quick just to make sure if there's any questions between Legacy Lab and the Ross Leaders Academy. Yes? That's a good question. Yeah, so the application window will always open in the fall, right at the start of the year. So if you're a sophomore and you're looking for that opportunity next year, we'd invite you to say, hey, look for that opportunity in the fall, and you can apply there. If you have questions about the application, we can, of course, talk to you back at the table. Cool. Right. Yep. Yeah. Good question. Okay. Awesome. With that, if you have any more questions around Legacy Lab or RLA, we will be happy to take those in the back. But what I'd like to do is pass it over to Michelle to walk us through the rest of the program.
Thanks, Jeff. Nice to see many of you here today. Thank you for joining us. My name is Michelle Austin. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve as Assistant Director of Programs and Partnerships here at Sanger. So I'm going to take you home with talking about the rest of our programs, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about courses and how we're involved there, and then I'll wrap it up with how you can get involved before sending you to the back of the room. So the first event I want to tell you a little more about is Leadership Dialogues. Leadership Dialogues is really our event where we put together that practitioner side of leadership, so the C-suite folks, the folks who have advanced leadership experience, with the actual research that we're doing right here at Ross and the University of Michigan. So how this plays out is a fireside chat on the stage, which you have a lovely picture of Robin Washington, former CFO of Gilead, up there. And these are really quick, easy things for you to pop into while you're here at Ross. We'll do them once per semester. And you can already see on the board that we have one scheduled, which is going to be fantastic in October. It is with Matt Gutman. He's the chief news correspondent for ABC News, so you probably see him on your TV every night. He will be talking about mental health and leadership with Professor Ethan Cross, who also has a book on the importance of mental health and our ability to regulate as leaders. So I hope to see you there at that one. And then just be on the lookout. We'll have these events every semester, so you'll have the opportunity to drop in. The next program I want to talk to you about is just for graduate students right now, and we can give you lots more detail at our table in the back. You'll see me. It's our Michigan Ross Leader Endorsement. This program is a little different than some of our other Sanger programs because what it is it's a leadership certification that you can get as you navigate all of the other Sanger programs that we mentioned. Many of those are required as part of this program. In addition, we ask students to do a little bit of coaching, a lot of self-reflection about your leadership journey from the start to the finish, and we also have you doing some action-based experiments with that Sanger journey model. So what we really hope for this program is that you leave Ross telling recruiters your story as a leader by really having that time to reflect and practice on all of the leadership things that you did while you were here. So if you do this program, which we estimate takes about 50 hours, so yes, it is a little bit time intensive, but it is worth it. You do get a certificate, you get a LinkedIn credential, and more importantly, you get to tell that story of your leadership and how you were changed while you were here. This is actually open anytime for you to do, and it's very asynchronous. So it's a Canvas module where you're tracking those requirements, and we're supporting you along the way, but it's really more of a self-paced thing. If you're going to be doing a lot of the Sanger programs anyway, this is perfect just to jump onto. And again, no penalty if you don't complete it, but definitely one of these things we'd love to get our graduate students in on. All right, so that kind of wraps up our opt-in programs here, and all of those programs I'll explain in just a minute how you can actually get involved with those. But just jumping into the next section, we also are in the courses here at Ross. So we actually have one course, which I think is up here, MO 625, that Jeff actually teaches, wonderful course, but there's a couple others listed up here where if you join these courses, you will have our team come into your course, teach some more leadership content, or perhaps if we're not physically there, we'll have some of our concepts, some of our Michigan model of leadership as part of these courses. So you'll see us even if you are only able to do a couple of our opt-in programs. Speaking of which, we have a faculty board that is absolutely amazing. They're doing a lot of really great research, and they're talking a lot about leadership. The courses that they teach are under the management and organizations function here at Ross. Even if you are a non-Ross student, I believe you can get on the waiting list for some of these. So if you scan this QR code, and we can bring this back up as needed, you can get the full list of programs we recommend from the M&O department, which will have leadership concepts taught in them. All right, and then lastly, one last way to get involved. Even if you're super busy and you're kind of like, okay, well, I want to do some Sanger stuff, got a lot going on right now, go ahead and follow us on social media. We'll be posting all of our registrations and when they're opening on there. And then in addition, we post a lot of that research. So if we find a fun video of Marcus Collins talking about leadership research, we'll post it up there, we'll post tips. It's just a great way to keep involved with growing as a leader while you're here and also hearing a lot about what we're doing. So how do you get involved in all these programs we just said? Most of them are opt-in, as we mentioned, and you'll need to be watching your email. That's the primary way you're going to get a notification that our registration window is open. With the exception of Ross Leaders Academy, almost all of these programs, if you sign up, you're going to get in, or if for some reason you can't get in that time, we'll get you in next time. We want everybody to have an equal opportunity to get involved here. So making sure you don't block us on your email is the best way to get involved, as well as following us on social media. With that, I'm going to release you back to our tables where our team will join you in just a second. Are there any questions about how to get involved or any things I covered before we head on back? No? Okay, so our team will get situated at tables and then come talk to us with your individual questions about the programs. You'll see the different programs at the tables. Or you can also just grab some swag. I know Megan has some t-shirts and other things up for grab if you try your luck on the wheel. So we're excited to meet you back there. Thanks again for coming today.